What makes a fossil a fossil? Well, back of the envelope answer would be something older than 10,000 years old and doesn't smell anymore.
So fossils look like rocks, except that they're not. They tell us a lot about these animals that lived in a time we can't even imagine.
Because if you think of your skeleton as a tape recorder, it's recording your life history what you're eating, what you're drinking. If I took a sample of your hair, I could tell where you lived. Those molecules of carbon and oxygen that are trapped in your bones and teeth can reveal a lot of information. And you can apply that technology to the fossil record.
This is a replica of Ardipithecus ramidus. She is 4.4 million years old, and one of the things that's so neat about this specimen is the size of these teeth here, these canines, because notice they protrude about the same amount as the other teeth. They're not like the really big canines that you see on like the gorilla or chimpanzees. Those small canines mean that their social interactions were different than chimpanzees or gorillas. Males weren't fighting over females, and instead they were pair bonded with females. And so one idea is that the males could help take care of the babies and they could help carry them. And then you could have more offspring because you have two adults who could carry babies. So we can learn all kinds of great stuff about social behavior out of teeth and not just diet.
At times we've been referred to as stamp collectors, and I think those days are long over.
There's two big things that have changed in paleontology over the last 20 years. One of them is Google Earth. You know, sub-meter resolution at these sites all around the world. And so we can actually do some planning about field expeditions and trying to find new sites just by sitting at my desk down the hall. But then technology has also really changed the way we actually understand the fossils. So we're looking at fossils in brand new ways.
Trying to figure out if we have nerve fibers preserved in these dinosaur skulls. Dinosaurs go through this dramatic expression of morphological novelties, if you will, ornaments, horns, bumps, knobs on their skulls. In fact, they do it to such an extreme degree that juveniles look very different than their adults. And historically, they've been named different species, so we're trying to decipher that. This is a nasal bone from an adult Triceratops. Isn't that cool? This is a nasal horn. Isn't that cute? Right on the nose.
When I was still an undergraduate student, I did this really short internship at the Field Museum in Chicago. There was this young woman who was preparing specimens in this ornithology collection. She was very quietly sitting there listening to her headphones and prepping this skeleton. And I'm like, that's the job I want. Day in the life of a paleontologist. I think most of us were drawn to this discipline because we like to be in the field. When you're not teaching in the classroom, you're often out of the country, or wherever your site is. Field can mean a couple of different things. One, you're actually in the field trying to find new fossil sites, or you're at a site where you have found fossils and you're figuring out how to recover them. That might be excavation, or it might be a survey project. Or you're at a museum where you're curating that material. What fossils can do for us is to completely put us in a different frame. So a world that is so much bigger than ourselves that we're not even human anymore. And I think remembering that and being able to understand how we evolved to get to be here places us within that natural world and in a much bigger way.
Using the fossils as sort of the tabula rasa, if you will, on testing various hypotheses and trying to answer questions about global climate change, which is happening, our planet's heating up, and the evolutionary history of life on Earth and life on our planet can only be told by studying the fossil record. So these aren't just dusty old bones, even though they are. They're very important, both scientifically, historically, to the natural history of California. They're our fossil heritage. They've been associated with UC Berkeley since the university was chartered. I've been at Berkeley since I was an undergraduate. This is my 40th year. But to a paleontologist, that's, hardly a noticeable amount of time, but to a human, it's, I guess, a significant amount of time.